Hey guys, it's Richie. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today I wanted to take a look at the brand new Pokemon Pocket set, Celestial Guardians. For some reason, it took me like 7 attempts to say that correct, so this is like the 8th time I'm recording this intro. Dear God. Anyway, I promise I can read correctly. Because there's 239 cards in here, this is a big set, not a mini set. Of course, not all of them are unique, but because there's so many cards, I'm not going to be talking about every single one of them super in depth. This is not some sort of tier list video or any sort of like viability ranking. I'm just going to give my thoughts, first impressions on the card. It's way too early to be deciding what's good, what's bad. People are throwing shit at a wall right now to see if it sticks. So while people try to, solve the format, I'm going to be going over my thoughts on everything and seeing what's playable and what's pack fodder. So let's get right into it. And in an effort to make this video not super long, let's try to just blitz through a couple of these bad cards, right? So execute, I'm not even going to bother clicking on execute. In fact, I will actually. Here we go. There's no reason to use this thing ever. Every other execute we've ever gone ever is better. This thing sucks. It's horrible. 200 for 30 on a bit. Any 2 energy basic attacker is just dog shit unless it evolves. I worded that incorrectly. Any 2 energy basic attacker that's like meant to evolve just kind of sucks. So execute sucks. Alone Executor is a meme. This is just full gamble. Flip a coin. Attack does nothing. Otherwise you hit for 150. It's funny. Not worth using ever. It's just a meme. Surskit and Masquerain are pack fodder. Maractus is pack fodder. Carablast, I need to see Escavalier later. We'll see. Phantom and Trevenant are unfortunately pack fodder. I like these Pokemon. Rowlet, it's kind of up to you which one you want to use. This one just hits for Leafage for 20 into the active, and this one lets you snipe anything for 10. So pretty cool. I like how they made a daytime and nighttime version of all the starters, depending on what pack you pull them from. Pretty cool. Dartrix is alright. 1 energy, 30 damage is solid for stage 1, and Decidueye is something actually worth talking about. Pierce the Pain is something that can work outside of grass decks, so experiment with Darkrai perhaps. You can do 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, but it needs to have damage on it in order for it to be targetable with this attack. So it does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has damage on it. Pretty cool. You can use this with Darkrai to like ping them down and then Pierce the Pain later, or you can... There's a card that we'll actually talk about now in the grass archetype that I think could pair well with Decidueye. But overall, this has some real potential. This is like pretty good sniping potential. Not quite as powerful as something like Luxray, and it is an EX stage 2. But I mean, 100 damage is very significant. Also has this dope ass alternate print. Check this shit out. It's gotta be one of my favorite card arts in the game. The full moon in the background is awesome. This shit's awesome, dude. I personally love Decidueye, so I'm probably going to be trying this out. Pierce the Pain is a very cool attack. I very much expected it to have some sort of sniping ability, and it did not disappoint. That's a cool attack. Razor Leaf for 80 is also fine as well. 80 plus 100 with Pierce the Pain. It's going to be two-shotting pretty much everything, which is nice. So, very solid card there in Decidueye EX. Could be the start of its own archetype there. The start of its own deck. And I think it's actually going to perform fairly well, because Pierce the Pain is a quite powerful attack that can be used outside of grass decks. So we'll see what people cook up. I think Darkrai is the biggest idea so far. And also, this card which we're going to talk about in a second. But first we need to look at this Grubbin. Okay, we're done looking at this Grubbin. There's nothing to be said here. We'll check out Vikavolt. Fomantis is serviceable enough. 60 HP is fine for basic. Leafage 20. It's exactly what you would expect. It's exactly what you would want. It's good. Lurantis. HP is a little bit on the low side at 90 for stage 1, but that's fine. Petal Blizzard is the first idea that people have been having with Decidueye. You can do 20 to everything. So this is like Spiritomb, but it's on a stage 1. And instead of doing 20 to everything, instead of doing 10 to everything, you do 20. So it's quite a substantial difference. And then you can, of course, bring in Decidueye. This thing only has 1 retreat cost. Decidueye retreat cost is also only 1. So that's pretty cool. Maybe Shaman Sky's looking for a place in this deck. And, actually no, I won't work with Decidueye, sorry. Or Lurantis. So never mind, do not play Shaman Sky. But you can use this to set up for Decidueye snipes, which is pretty cool. So I think Lurantis might have a place with Decidueye. Otherwise, won't really see play. Morlul and Shiinotic are not real, I think. I mean, Flickering Light is a cool attack, don't get me wrong. And yeah, you can heal this thing with Mallow. I think Serena's the far better target for that. Speaking of Serena, Bound Sweet is serviceable. 50 HP, Stampede for 20 is fine. Steenie, is fine as well. It's okay. Serena is a good card. 2 retreat cost kind of stinks, but at 130 HP, 3 kick combo is quite a good attack. You flip 3 coins, does 50 for each heads, so it's like a worse version of Zapdos, but it's only 1 energy, and it's not an EX. So it's much better than Zapdos, if you ask me. The good thing about this is that you can also heal it to full health whenever you want, thanks to Mallow, and having to discard all of your energy as for the side effect of Mallow is not that bad, because you're only hitting for 1 energy. Pretty cool alternate print here as well. Pretty dope. Serena's a good card. I've seen this been played with Meowscarada in Judy's tournament somewhat recently, so pretty cool. Wimpod is fine. No, actually, no, Wimpod fucking sucks. Gnaw is a horrible attack. 3 energy for 30 is absolutely pathetic. It has 3 retreat cost. Everything about this is horrible. The only redeeming trait it has is Wimp Out. So during your first turn, it has no retreat cost. So if you lead Wimpod, it's okay. You can switch out for free. But, man, this thing is horrible. What's the payoff? Golisopod, which is not horrible. A first impression is 1 more energy than I would like it to be personally. At 3, it's a little bit rough, but if Golisopod moved to the bench this turn, it does 120, which is quite significant. Personally, I was really hoping that Golisopod would be an EX Pokemon with this exact attack, actually, first impression, working similar to how it does here. But I think it would have been kind of cool if it had emergency exit as an ability, so you could pivot it a little bit easier. 2 retreat cost means that it's going to be hard to get this thing in and out of the active, so I don't see it being very viable. Even though first impression is a fine attack, this thing is just not pivotable, I guess, enough for it to be super relevant. Dhelmise is probably not going to see play, but it is fun. It's essentially Arbok, but as a basic EX for grass types. Pretty cool. You do 80 damage and they can't retreat, so you can, like, use Lurantis to do 20 to everything, Cyrus it in, switch to your Dhelmise and trap it, and now that thing is dead, so that's pretty cool. I just think there's going to be better grass-type attacking EX options. Cool full art, though, at the bottom of the sunken sea with a ship in the background. Super, super sick Pokemon. Super, super sick card art here. But I don't see Dhelmise making a huge splash. It's going to be fun to play around with, but I don't think it's going to do much of anything. Tapu Bulu sucks. Maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know. This thing sucks. 120 HP is great for a non-EX basic. 2 retreat cost is fine considering it has so much health. But its attack is kind of whatever. I mean, 100 for 3 is fine. Maybe just 20 to itself. I mean, I guess it's not that bad. There's just better options, like... I don't know what reason you would want to use this card. Also, 3 energy is a little bit hard to get to with Grass type in particular. They don't have any ramp options other than Leafeon. And... if you're going to use Leafeon to build up to Tapu Bulu, at that point, I think you'd rather use better options like, I don't know, Venusaur or something. I don't know, and even Venusaur isn't great. This Growlithe and Arcanine are pack fodder. They are horrible. Alolan Marowak. This is not a bad card. If you take Kiawe into consideration. If you take Kiawe into consideration, Burning Boomerang. Is not a bad attack. It does 70 times the number of heads you flip. You flip 2 coins. And also, as long as one of them is heads, so as long as you do any damage at all, it burns them. So, which means that you're doing a minimum of 0 damage and a maximum of, let's see here, 160. I love gambling. So your damage values are essentially going to be 0, 90, because 70 plus the burn is 90, or 160. Yeah, if you flip 2 heads, you do 160. So, it's not bad. Because Kiawe lets you accelerate 2 fire energy to this thing for free, but then your turn ends, it's not too bad. By your second attack, you can be threatening this. So, maybe the advent of a new single prize fire deck, who knows? But this attack is not bad at all. It has a very, very high damage cap. And guaranteeing a burn is super nice. And of course, if they don't heal the burn, that's only going to be 20 more damage. So they could be raised even higher like that. How much damage this thing is doing. So pretty dope overall. It's not a bad card. I don't know if Kyowa is going to like catch on at all, but it's not bad. Fletchinder and Talonflame are unfortunately pack fodder. Litten hurts itself, which would normally be really bad, but Incineroar kind of wants to hurt itself, so maybe it's not that bad. The Nighttime one is the safe option, where with you not hurting yourself. Torracat has to hurt itself to attack, though. And then we've got Incineroar EX. And Incineroar EX is an interesting card. Normally, I would just say Charizard is a better Stage 2 fire than this, so why would you ever play Incineroar? But the fact that Incineroar has a 1 energy attack, am I gonna be able to click on this fucking thing anytime soon? Thank you. Um, the fact that Incineroar has a 1 energy attack means that it's actually pretty viable. Fire Fang does 30 for 1, and it burns them, which means it's doing 50 for 1, potentially 70 if they don't heal the burn. So that's very good. And Scar Charge Smash does, let's see, 80 plus 60 is 120. Right? Yes. Yes. 120. Dude, am I stupid? 140. My math is very bad. Anyway, it's 140 damage for 3. Which is very solid. Of course, the prerequisite is that you need to have damage on you, otherwise it just says 80. But, I mean, Incineroar is a bulky Pokemon with 180 HP. You're definitely going to want to use healing with this, probably like Lily or something like that, but Scar Charge Smash is a powerful attack. It's going to be two-shotting. A lot of stuff is going to be one-shotting pretty much anything that's not an EX, which is nice. And Fire Fang is a great early-game attacking option. It's really the big reason why I think Incineroar is quite viable here. Cool alternate R as well with the ring and stuff. I think the big reason why Incineroar can differentiate itself from Charizard is the fact that it has this early game pressure with Fire Fang. You can rare candy Incineroar on your second turn and start smashing people with Fire Fang immediately, which is awesome. Having that 1 energy attack really distinguishes this guy from any other Fire type EX option that we have at the moment. At least that's been played with his, which is pretty much just Charizard, not gonna lie. The Fire type kind of just has been Charizard up until now with a little bit of Infernape, not really. So Incineroar might give us another attacking option, which is cool. Oricorio is funny. It's some energy denial, which is cool, but it's cards from itself as well, so you have to reattach them. No one's gonna play this. It sucks. New Salandit can be played in any deck, which is cool. The other one is probably better. Salazzle, though, poisons and burns you at the same time, which is really funny. So it does, let's see, 60 damage, because 20 from the burn, 10 from the poison, does 60 damage, potentially another 30. If they don't heal their status ailments, which they're not going to heal the poison guaranteed, but the burn they might. So if they don't heal the burn, it's another, guaranteed 30 damage later. Well, guaranteed 10 damage, maybe 30 damage later. It's an interesting card. I don't see it being played very much. Maybe if we see some sort of single price fire deck rise up, maybe in Kiawe, but I think Kiawe would prefer to play this card, Turtonator. 4 retreat is terrible, but 120 HP is quite nice. Fire spin is okay. You do 90 damage for 3, and you need to discard a fire energy, which sucks. So you need to be committing energy to this thing every turn. But, of course, you can charge this up with Kiawe, so maybe you play this alongside a Lola Marowak. I don't know. I'm not... really cool full art, by the way. This looks awesome. I don't know if Turtonator is really going to be any sort of anything, but... Again, if we see Kiawe actually be a good card, if it makes this thing worth it, I guess we'll see it. Personally, I don't think we will, but we'll see. Dude, that alternate art is fucking crazy. Hold on, there's like a volcano in the background, like a sun. This looks like the sun next to the volcano. Wow, this thing is... Wow. That's gotta be one of the best full arts in the game, dude. That's awesome. Okay, Alola Sandslash is interesting. Sandshrew is exactly what you would want out of it. It's fine. Sandslash is cool. It only does 20 damage, but if they hit into it, it does 40. So that's pretty cool. It's like double Rocky Helmet ping. This might find a place in some water decks now that you can't just go fully X on your decks anymore, which we'll get into why that is later. Sandslash can do 40 damage if it's being attacked into. Maybe you run this with Float Soul or something in like no EX format. It could be decent, but the fact that it's a stage 1 makes this a little bit eh. Thank God Spike Armor is only 1 energy. So I guess there's that. But Sandslash is interesting. At only 100 health, though, it's probably going to be getting one-shot a lot. So it's tough to tell how much value Spike Armor is actually going to get. But if you can get more than 1 proc on it, even just 2, that's 80 damage. That's a lot. That's a lot. So there's some merit to be had here. Vulpix is great because it can ramp itself up with Call Forth Cold. You can get water energy and attach it to this Pokemon. That's awesome. And the Alola Ninetales is like worse Articuno. It's Articuno, but it's on a stage 1 non-EX. It also does 20 less damage to the active, but it still hits everything else for 20, so that's cool. Also, Vulpix and Ninetales both getting full arts. Jesus. But, yeah, this thing is pretty good. Only because Vulpix can ramp itself up. It's only playable because Vulpix can ramp itself up. I don't know how relevant single prize, decks of any of these types are going to be, but maybe a little Ninetales finds a spot there. Cool card. Cloyster looks like pack fodder to me, dude. I don't know. It takes 20 less damage with guard press. Who cares, dog? This shit is dicks. This Lapras is definitely pack fodder. Poplio, one of them gets to put your opponent to sleep. The other one does 20 damage with water gun. It's up to you to decide which one you want to use. They're both okay. Brionne can do 30 for 1. It's fine. Primarina might find a place in like Crabominable decks or anything else that wants to heal their Pokemon a lot. Melodious Healing is a very solid ability. It's Irida, but it's like a mini Irida. It does 30 instead of 40. But you can use it every turn. And this plus Irida means you can heal 70 in one turn from all of your water Pokemon, which is kind of ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, its attack is decent enough. 60 for 2, it's fine. No EX here is hilarious, by the way. Damn, that sucks. But yeah, I mean, this Primarina, it's perfectly serviceable. The fact that it's a stage 2 is a little bit rough, but again, Rare Candy helps with that now that we have that in the format. So maybe we'll see some decks play this if they really, really want the healing. Speaking of really, really wanting the healing, here's Crabominable. Crabominable is amazing, I think, and no one is playing it from what I've seen. And I don't know why no one is playing it. Did Primarina even get a full art, dude? I didn't even pay attention to that. It didn't. They did you dirty, Primarina. That's crazy. Crabominable did, though. Check it out. And it's there. It's a funny-ass full art. And this thing is insane. It's Water Executor, only it's kind of just a better Executor, because it does 40 the first time it hits, and then guaranteed 80 every single time after that. Yes, you still have one more retreat cost, but you got the same health, you're still stage 1, and you got a better attack if you ask me. So, you can keep this thing alive with Irida, you could even use Primarina with this to keep healing it. Dude, this thing is very solid. It's very solid, it's very consistent damage. I would be shocked if Crabominable sees 0 play, personally. Maybe it will because Executor doesn't really see play anymore, but this just looks like a better version of Executor for water types. So, I don't know. I guess it doesn't have access to the new Leaf Cape or Grass Cape or whatever, but Giant Cape is still good enough, I think, on this. 180 health. Quite nice. Wishy-Washy is unfortunately a gimmick. The baby Wishy-Washy only has 30 health, 1 retreat, so this thing dies very easily. You can get sniped, just like Magikarp can, but Call for Family lets you search for Wishy-Washy or Wishy-Washy EX. Put it onto the deck or the bench. It's a random one, you don't get to search. But essentially the whole gimmick of the deck is you want to load up your bench with Wishy-Washy and Wishy-Washy EX. And if you've got the maximum amount, so 2 babies and 2 Wishy-Washy EX, if you got them all in play at the same time, Wishy-Washy EX can use School Storm for 3 to hit for 150. And of course, to go alongside this gimmick, Wishy-Washy EX has absolutely cracked out stats for being an EX, a basic EX. It has 170 health, which is the number so that we would see on a stage 2 EX. The problem is, what do you do if you lead Wishy-Washy EX? You can't Call for Family anymore. You're kind of just screwed, right? I mean, you have to find all your other pieces the normal way by using Pokeball and stuff, and I don't know how good that's going to be. It's a very interesting gimmick they have here. It's also worth noting that if one of your baby Wishy-Washy is gone, you don't lose that damage forever, because they introduce a brand new item that seems tailor-made for this thing called Fishing Net, that lets you get a water from the discard straight onto the board, so you can get your baby Wishy-Washy back and get this thing's damage output right back up to where it was, which is nice, but again, you got to fill up your bench, which means you don't have room for Primarina or anything like that to keep you healthy. And overall, I think there's going to be better water-type EX options. This looks like a gimmick at best, which is unfortunate because I really like Wishy-Washy, and I was hoping it would get an EX, and it did. But unfortunately, it's not great. So, I like what they were going for. It's a fun idea, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be very good. Very cool card, though. Wishy-Washy is one of my favorite water types. This thing is awesome. Araquanid. Dupiter is horrible, by the way. I don't like any. I do not like a single. If you attack for 2 energy and you evolve, screw you, dude. Like that is so bad. I hate it. I hate it. I'm sorry. Especially for 30. Ugh. Ugh. That card sucks. Araquanid, though. The powerful part about its attack is a little bit underwhelming. You can do 120 for 3, which is nice, but it only works if they're a basic Pokemon, otherwise you're doing 60. So this is meant to counter their basic EX meta, which is nice. There's so many things to counter this expansion I'm very happy about. But the main reason you'd want to play Araquanid is to use it with Lana, because Lana gives you boss's orders as long as Araquanid is on the board, which is incredibly powerful because you can use that to boss out their basic Pokemon and then one-shot it maybe. So that's really, really sick. Araquanid plus Lana might be slotted into something like, I don't know, Palkia EX. Maybe if Palkia, you can use Lana to boss in one of their Pokemon to Dimensional Storm, which is kind of cool. I mean, I don't know how good this is actually going to be in practice, but Lana is a very powerful card, so they made Araquanid a little bit mid, I feel, to compensate, but it's a good card. Pyukumuku is funny. Whenever it dies, it does 50 to its attacker, which is awesome, and it can hit for 20. So I think this is super legit, actually. Water decks are going to start slotting this in. I mean, this is a good early game wall, dude. You can chip for 20 every turn, and when it dies, you deal 50 to the attacker. That's quite a bit of damage. I mean, you have to give up a point to do it, but it's good. It's solid. You know, it's going to be really hard to KO Pyukumuku and also stay out of range of being revenged by your opponent, and I think that's cool. So Pyukumuku is a pretty nice option for water decks to have, as if they needed even more options, but whatever. Yeah, Bruxish is pack fodder, Tapu Fini is pack fodder. I'm sorry, this thing is pack fodder. 100 HP on a tank is not great. You're healing 20, you're dealing 60 for 3. I don't think it's good. They made a Pikachu that you can play in any deck because Alola Raichu is colorless. These guys are both colorless. Alola Raichu is interesting. You do 30 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So let's see, that's 90 with 1, 120 for 2, 150 for 3, right? If my math is not incorrect. 180 for 4, right? So Giratina just dies, which is very funny. So Giratina just gets blown the hell up. The problem with Alola Raichu is that this thing wants to be splashable, but I don't see it being splashable. Right? It's hard for this thing to be splashable when you need 4 deck slots for it because you need your Pikachu as well. So it's kind of hard to see this thing really being able to be splashed in a big variety of decks. I think lightning decks are just gonna want to use it at the end of the day. Or not lightning decks, but if you're building around a Alola Raichu, you kind of just have to build around it, you know? It's not like, this isn't something like Mew, where I think you can just splash it. Like, Mew is far more splashable than this thing is, because Mew is a basic Pokemon, you just run 1 copy of it in the deck. Alola Raichu is a 4-card commitment. That's a very big difference when your deck size is only 20, so I'm a little bit iffy about it. If Alola Raichu was like a tech card like Mew, like if this thing was a basic, oh my god, it would be incredible. But it's not. Being a Stage 1 makes a huge difference here. Geodude and Graveler suck. Golem is really funny. With Sophocles, you can do 180 damage with Super Zap Cannon. The problem is ramping. The only ramp in at all, actually, that Electric has is, I guess, Magnezone Dawn, but the big one is Pachirisu. Pachirisu is a very meh card, if you ask me. 180 is very significant, don't get me wrong. This plus Sophocles, you're killing everything. You get to one-shot anything in the game, and if you get to the point where you can use Super Zap Cannon twice in a row, you kind of just win the game. Good luck getting to that point, though. Helioptile and Heliolisk are colorless attacking electric types. Maybe decks who really want electric coverage use them. Otherwise, we will not be using them. Charjabug is fine, 30 for 1, perfectly serviceable, good HP stat at 90. Vikavolt can be good if you get this out early. This is another Sophocles target, so it can hit for 100. But, you can hit for 100, it has 140 HP, so it's decently bulky. Stage 2 is a problem, but of course, if you get this out with Rare Candy, you can item lock your opponent. They cannot play any item cards from their hand during their next turn. That's what Disconnect does. 70 damage is a little bit on the low side, but of course it has that controlling effect to balance it out. So no more Pokeballs, no more Rare Candies, no more Pokemon Tools, no more any of that shit. It's quite significant, actually. The problem is that, of course, by the time you get Vikavolt out, they might have already played all their Pokeballs. They might have already played all their Pokemon Tools. You know, you see where I'm getting at here, right? Vikavolt being a stage 2 kind of lets it down quite a bit. If you can rush this thing out somehow, might see some play. Who knows? Vikavolt Control. Is this a new start or something? Oricorio, dear God. I'm going to save that thing for the end of the electric type. Let's talk about Togedemaru first. Togedemaru is a card that I originally wrote off and I thought it was just terrible. 70 HP was kind of bad. Electro Smash only does 20 for 1, maybe 50, but it's gambling. I thought this thing was dog shit, to be honest. And then I started playing it. And I was like, man, this card isn't bad, you know? Yeah, 20 for 1 is it's unbelievably average. It's exactly what you would expect on a basic Pokemon that could evolve, but Togedemaru doesn't evolve. So it's kind of below average. And if this was just 20 for 1, it would be bad. But the fact that 50% of the time you deal 50 damage is pretty significant. Now, unfortunately, you cannot guarantee that you do 50 damage unless you want to play Sophocles, unlike Skarmory, but Skarmory has taught us that 50 damage for 1 energy is very good. So the fact that 50% of the time you're doing that is pretty nice. I wish this thing had a better condition to do 50 damage that could help me guarantee it every turn without having to play Sophocles, but this is decent, you know? Togedemaru is not a huge meta-defining card, but if it does its job well, like if you are looking for a very low energy, very low committal, early game aggro card for Lightning, this is probably your best bet, because it's a basic, only 1 energy attack. This is something that you can put in the active and forget about it, and just keep swinging with it every turn, and if you got Sophocles, great, play it for the turn and do even more damage. Quite significantly, if you play Sophocles and you hit heads, you're doing 80 damage for 1, which isn't just good like Skarmory, that's ridiculous. That is stupid. That is stupidly good. So, Togedemaru is not bad. I think it has a job to do, which is being an early game aggression card for Electric, and it does that job fairly well. It's fine. Tapu Koko, if Volt Switch was 1 less energy, I would like it a lot more, personally. Something funny you can do with this is you can play with Oricorio, hit for 70, go back into your Oricorio, switch back to Tapu Koko using the effect of Shaman Sky, hit it for 70, switch back to Oricorio, hit for 70, switch back to Oricorio, and you can't attack it back if you're hitting with an EX, which is funny. But that's gimmicky and kind of bad because the energy cost on this is just too high. Volt Switch is just, it's too much energy for me. Like, if you want to get this and Oricorio online, you're going to have to play Pachirisu probably. And yeah, man, I really wish Volt Switch was 1 less energy, maybe did 50 damage instead of 70, and had the same switching effect. Because it's a really fun idea, but I just, it's whatever, I expected the Tapus to all have abilities to go with their respective surges and terrains in the game, but that didn't happen, so, yeah, this thing is, you get to switch with the benched Electric, it's whatever, I don't know, I can't see it being great. Oricorio. Everyone is talking about this card. Everyone is talking about this card, and for good reason, because its ability is bonkers. Oh, Tapu Koko does have a really cool full art, though. Check this out. Pretty sick. All the Tapus have that. They have, like, in the same style. Same dude drew all of them, pretty sure. Oricorio has a really funny full art, and this thing is kind of bonkers. Safeguard its ability. If you are living under a rock and don't know what it does, you are immune to all damage from EX Pokemon. Well, from attacks. You can still take damage from Darkrai Ping and Glaceon abilities, stuff like that, but from direct attacks, you take no damage. And yes, this works on if Oricorio's on the bench, which means Decidueye, for example, cannot snipe you, which is super cool. So Oricorio has completely single-handedly changed deck building because no longer is 18 Trainer viable. This has single-handedly killed 18 Trainer, and for that I applaud Oricorio, and I'm very happy this card exists because 18 Trainer is never something that should have ever been viable in the first place. What a boring, soulless, stupid excuse for an archetype. I despised it. And Oricorio means that it's just not good anymore. Thank goodness for that. Oricorio being introduced into the game single-handedly means that now you just cannot play only EX Pokemon in your deck, which is insane because the meta for the since the game came out practically has been basic spam, all EX Pokemon for the most part. So Oricorio means that you can't play that anymore, which is crazy. Like that's insane. A lot of EX decks are gonna have to start slotting in normal attackers. Darkrai Giratina, for example, the only way they can win is through Darkrai Pings or Rocky Helmet. Mewtwo Giratina, like relevant decks of the last format. Darkrai Giratina I just explained. Mewtwo Giratina instantly loses. Charizard EX instantly loses. What else? Brain. Gyarados has to rely on Palkia. Some of the decks didn't even play Palkia. If not, they instantly lose. Like there's a lot of decks in the last format that would only use EX attackers. Oh, Arceus Dialga instantly loses to this, right? Like, who would win, the Creation Trio or one fuck-ass bird? Like it's crazy. So yeah, Oricorio is single-handedly changing the entire game. It's gonna warp the whole game around it. Surprisingly, though, it might not even see that much play. I don't know. We're gonna have to see what the meta is. Oricorio is a card that is directly, like, how good it is proportionally is completely and totally proportionate to how good people think this card is, I guess, right? If people really respect Oricorio and they're like, damn, this thing means that I can't play all EXs, and people start playing a lot of non-EX Pokemon, Oricorio becomes substantially worse. But if people kind of disrespect Oricorio and they're like, dude, no one's going to play this card is way too situational, it's way too shit, and people start playing EXs, now Oricorio's broken. So overall, I think this is a quite healthy addition to the game. I thought it wasn't at first, but it is. This has changed deck building for the better, because 18 Trainers is dead. Yay! I'm so happy about that. Thank you, Oricorio. It's insane. Also, something worth mentioning, if you're using a Lightning deck, Oricorio is a mandatory one of. Like, it's just the way it is. This improves your matchup spread so much. There is no other card in the game that improves your matchup spread by this much in one single slot. I genuinely think that is the case. Maybe Mars? I don't know. Mars and Red Card are not bad anymore now because that rare candy's in the game. But this is crazy, dude. Like, genuinely. If you're using a Lightning deck, one copy of Oricorio is non-negotiable. Mr. Mime is pack filler. Sableye is pack fodder. It's a corner card. Arbok Bana basic, less damage. It's not good. Spoink looks like it would be good because it can ramp itself up. Too bad its evolution is fucking dog shit, so it sucks. Lunatone is pack fodder. Shuppet is fine. Bayonet is interesting because it's energy denial, but then you realize it only works on their active. If this was just for all their Pokemon, it'd be kind of nasty. Maybe even worth building a deck around. It's only for the active, though. I can't see it being very consistently good. This Oricorio, unfortunately, sucks. This other Oricorio, though, does this one suck? 40 for 2, confuse them? Yeah, I think it sucks. This other one, though, this is a faster version of Marshadow, and it's on a Psychic-type Pokemon. So yes, you do less damage. Yes, you're not as bulky, but it's only 1 energy, and you do 80 damage, potentially. Pretty good. There are Psychic decks that will definitely want that. It'll have a place in the game, for sure. Ribombee is pack filler. Comfey might find value in a future format where special conditions become really, really good. But until that happens, this thing is kind of whatever. Palossand might be the worst card ever. Not really, but it's really bad. 3 energy for 70 is horrible. Sandygast 2 for 30 is also similarly horrible. 3 for 70 is horrible. And that's because Acerola exists and it works with Palisand and Mimikyu, so I guess they made these cards kind of whatever to compensate, but dude, you might have gone a little bit too far on the whatever scale, because this Palisand really stinks. Mimikyu does 60 for 2, and then one of your Pokemon takes 20 damage, which pretty much has to be Mimikyu or Palisand to get any value out of it, because Acerola moves 40 damage from those Pokemon onto your active, so you can do potentially 100 if you've hit twice with Mimikyu. This is the epitome of mid. They made these Pokemon not that great. Tapu Lele is a sniper that can hit anything for 20 damage per energy that they have attached. So if Giratina has 4, you're hitting for 80. Kind of nice. Well, for only 1 energy. It makes them think twice about ramping up the Giratina. You'll do more and more damage every turn. Kind of cool. A lot of Pokemon need to attack for a lot of energy, so Tapu Lele can it can help put a lot of substantial amounts of chip on them, which is good. Because all that chip on them means that later your psychic type attackers might have an easier time sweeping. So, pretty cool. Cosmog, Cosmom, and Lunala, as well as Solgaleo. We'll get into that one later, but Cosmog is good. 60 HP, and it can teleport, so good. It's fine. It does not want to be in the active, and it does that job fairly well. Cosmom just wants to stay alive. It takes minus 50 from attacks with Stiffen. It's whatever. If you can skip this with Rare Candy, do it. Lunala, in my opinion, does not have a place in the game. I know Lunala Giratina is an idea. You can ramp this thing up alongside Giratina at the same time. Very cool art, by the way. So Galeo and Lunala have matching art, and it's very awesome. But overall, I just think it's kind of whatever. Like, yeah, you can move some of your energy straight onto your Giratina to attack, and therefore charge your Giratina up much faster than it could before. But that's pretty much about it. And, if you really want a Stage 2 Pokemon that can ramp Psychic Energy, I think Mewtwo might unironically be better. Or sorry, Gardevoir might be better. Also, we're kind of lacking a good Psychic type to hit. Like, I guess Mewtwo and Giratina are pretty much your best options. And to be honest, I think that deck can do without Lunala. If this was a basic, it'd be different. But it's a Stage 2, and its attack is underwhelming as well. So, Necrozma sucks. There's nothing else to be said. Cubone, they made a colorless Cubone because a little Maroc exists. It also sucks because it's 30 for 2 energy. So, Makuhita's fine. 70 HP, 20 for 1. Hariyama's not going to see any play. It has Sabrina as the effect of its attack. 50 for 2, it's whatever. No fighting deck ever is going to want to play this. Solrock is pack fodder. Drillbur, we'll see Excadrill, but this thing is whatever. 10 for 1 is not good. But it's better than 30 for 2, I guess. This Timber is perfectly fine. This Girder kind of sucks. And Conkeldurr is a meme. Sorry, it just is. Like, sometimes it survives. If you keep rolling heads, Guts will keep you alive forever, and you can keep hitting for 80. Also, 150 is quite a bit of bulk, so that's nice. But I don't think this is going to see any play. It's a gimmick at best. Crabrawler. Crabominable is very good, so this card is good. Also, 20 for 1 is good. Rockruff. Don't ever play this one. 20 for 1. Don't ever play this one. You see this other one? This other one is ridiculous. You get to search for a Rockruff evolution. Let me save you the time and tell you which one is good. It's not this one. Midday sucks. Why? Because Midnight exists and is way better. It does 100 for 2 as long as the active Pokemon has more, the opponent's active has more HP remaining than Lycanroc, which is going to be very often because you only got 100 HP and EXs are common, right? So you get to hit for 100 for 2 energy. That's ridiculous. This thing is way better than the Midday version. It's not even close. And yeah, play this one with Signs of Evolution because you get to search out Lycanroc for free. Which means that now you can actually play Rockruff and Lycanroc as a 1-1 line. And it's viable. That's super cool. So you can slot this into a lot of fighting decks. I think they will slot this in. Very cool Pokemon. Very, very cool Pokemon. I'm a huge fan of Rockruff. Midnight is my least favorite form, though, so hopefully when they come out with Dusk form in the next mini set, which is definitely going to be Ultra Sun and Moon themed, hopefully Dusk form is good. Dusk form EX, please. Rockruff being able to search out an EX Lycanroc would be insane. Super cool. Mudbray Giga sucks. Again, 30 for 2 just is not. 80 HP is cool, but it sucks. And Mudsdale, there's no reason to ever play this over Rampardos. There's nothing else that needs to be said. Passimian is cool. You can recycle your energy from it when it dies onto something in the back. Maybe this is a Machamp EX. Maybe it's a Lucario. Maybe it's a Garchomp. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's not going to be better than Rampardos. So just play that if you're playing fighting. Minior does 40 to 1. Fighting type doesn't need a sniping Pokemon. So this thing is going to see no play. Nothing else to be said. Alola, Rattata, and Raticate. Raticate would actually be kind of cool if it discarded a random card, but it's a random item, so I think it's a lot less useful now. 110 is actually like decent bulk for stage 1. Like, I don't know, this thing could have been pretty good if it was just a discard effect, but it's not, so. Persian is pack fodder, Grimer is terrible, and Alola Muck is a gimmick at best. This gives your opponent a random status effect, and it can't double it. So it will never choose a status effect that's already been chosen, which is super good. Cool full art, by the way. But yeah, this is the gimmick at best. No one is gonna. This is not a serious deck. I'm sorry. What is a serious deck though is Absol. Absol plus Clodsire. I think no one is playing it. Maybe it's not good, but this thing is legit. I think this thing is legit, right? You could also use this thing with Alola Muck. I guess you could use Absol with Alola Muck, but I think Clodsire is a better partner for it. You can do 80 for 2 as long as your opponent's active is affected by a special condition. That's good. This is a huge buff for Clodsire. When you add on Poison Barb onto this, dude, that's legit. I think that's legit. You're looking at a really cool deck. You could even run Weezing with this thing. Weezing Koga. That's really, really nice. And Arceus has fallen off a lot, so I think, those decks are viable again. Garbodor, 70 for 3, you poison them. Holy shit, that sucks. Meridian Toxapex. Toxapex can hit for cheap, and it can do okay damage, I guess. There's better dark types to play. Alolan Dugtrio is gambling. You flip a coin until you get tails, and it does 70 for each head. It's continuous steps Eevee, but on steroids. If you want to play it, go ahead. Excadrill is good. Excadrill is good. Excadrill is a good card. One energy for 50 is very good. It's very good. I've seen people play this with Solgaleo a little bit. They mostly play Skarmory instead because it's a basic and it's less, deck slots taken up. But I think Excadrill is a fine alternative. This is not a bad card. 1 for 50 is good. Escavalier. This thing sucks. It doesn't suck, but you would rather use Skarmory or even Excadrill over that. Klefki is cool. It's a draw engine. Does 10, draws a card. This is good. There's some steel decks that might want to play this, and it's a good card. It's not bad. Solgaleo is really cool. I've seen this being played with Drampa, and we'll get to that. But, yeah. Rising Road lets you switch to this thing for free, and 120 for 2 is bonkers. Of course, it does 10 damage to itself, which is not that bad at all. This is just better Arcanine. It's better, honestly, maybe even better version of Giratina. But of course, this is normally balanced out by the fact that it's a stage 2 Pokemon. But that's not that bad since we got Rare Candy in the mix. So yeah, Solgaleo's kind of nuts. I think it's going to be a fine card. It's going to be good. This is a good card. I've seen some people play Magearna with it. Magearna is an excellent counter to Oricorio. If your opponent's active Pokemon has an ability, it does 40 more damage. Oricorio is probably going to be one of the most relevant ability Pokemon in the game. This is a great counter to it. Does 80 damage, it one-shots it, unless they got Cape. So that's probably Magearna's job, is to kill Oricorio. Drampa. Oh, look, they paired them right next to it. Good. Drampa's good. Drampa's good because of Berserk. If any of your benched Pokemon have damage on them, the attack does 50 more damage. So you can hit with Solgaleo, Leaf out into Drampa, and now you're doing, let's see what, 70 damage for 2. That's quite nice. You also have no weakness because you're a Dragon type, and Berserk is colorless. Yes! Colorless Dragon types. Amazing. Really cool full art, by the way. This is awesome. And yeah, overall, I think Drampa's going to find Solgaleo loves this thing, and I'm sure there are other decks that are also going to like it quite similarly. So yeah, Drampa's a good card. This will be splashed into some decks. Kommo-o is a joke. I know they tried to make this thing closer to the game with clanging scales. It takes more damage from attacks. Sure, whatever. Dual energy, like it's just I'm throwing up. Tauros is pack fodder. Delcatty is a ramp card. This attaches normal energy, the first of its kind, colorless energy. Of course, we see that in the real TCG, but that's not a thing in Pocket until now. Now you can ramp colorless energy. That's legit. That's super legit. Because, I mean, there's a lot of Pokemon out there that require not just colorless energy, right? You got to think beyond just colorless energy. There might be a Pokemon out there that requires one fighting energy and three colorless, or one water energy and two colorless, and you can ramp the colorless with the Delcatty. So, I mean, it's a stage 1 is the only problem, but I don't think this is too bad, personally. That's legit. I don't know if any deck is ever going to play it ever, but I mean, the effect is not bad on paper. Fletchling, Talonflame is pack fodder like we saw, so oh well. Hawlucha does more damage to dark types, and it has no reason for its existence beyond that, I guess. Beware is pack fodder. Well, I skipped a row, my bad. Picky-Peck and Toucanon, up to Toucanon is probably just pack fodder. 1 for 70 is crazy, though. I will say that. One damage, or one energy for 70 is pretty crazy. I believe Toucanon has a promo, so we'll look at that. But is there a reason to play this? I don't know. 1 for 70 is good, like I've been saying, but it's on a stage 2, so. Gumshoes is pack fodder. Stuffle Beware pack fodder. Oranguru is funny. It's not going to see play, probably. I mean, you can permanently prevent a Pokemon that has to discard from itself to attack, to ever attack, which is funny. Like Gyarados, if it discards from itself, or any Pokemon that discards energy from itself, you can prevent it from ever attacking with this, which is funny. And they also can't retreat unless they want to commit one more energy to it. So that's cool. But I don't know. There might be some deck in the future that likes playing Oranguru, but I can't see it being super good. Komala has an ability that hurts it, and the upside is you get hit for 70 damage for only 2 energy on a basic with 90 HP, which is quite good. But I think I'd rather just use Farfetch, to be honest, if I want this type of stuff. And now we're done with the Pokemon, for the most part. The promos might be on a different page. I believe we are. I believe they are, unfortunately. So we'll hit that up in a second. Let's look at the items, right? Big Malasada. This is just worst potion, right? Like, special conditions are not good enough to warrant this thing being played. Just use potion. Fishing Net. I don't see any water deck playing this other than Wishy-Washy. Wishy-Washy, this is a 2 of. Every other deck, don't use it. Rare Candy is the most game-changing card ever. That's not an exaggeration. You can just skip the stage 1 and go straight to a stage 2 now. Absolutely ridiculous. Literally, like, Rare Candy means that we have to go back and we have to reevaluate every stage 2 ever printed. 1 energy attacking and 2 energy attacking stage 2s just got a massive buff out of this because they can start swinging a lot earlier. And even Pokemon that attack for 3 energy or more still get a consistency boost out of this. Rare Candy has single-handedly made evolving viable. Thank you, Rare Candy. It has made stage 2s actually good now. So I'm happy about that. Rare Candy is an absolutely game-changing card. It means that hand control is better now as well. Yeah, Rare Candy is nuts. It's just absolutely nuts. Rotom Dex. Better version of Pokedex. No one played Pokedex. Therefore, it sucks. Poison Barb is probably just worse than Rocky Helmet. If you attack the dude with Poison Barb on it, they get poisoned. Clodsire likes this. Clodsire really likes this. This is the 2 of in Clodsire. I can't see it being better than Rocky Helmet, though. Leaf Cape is just Giant Cape, but better. But only for grass types, though. Get 30 HP instead of 20. Only works on grass types. It's a good card. Venusaur can hit 220 health. Eggy can hit 190. You can get some pretty ridiculous numbers out of this. I mean, Celebi's hitting, what, 160? Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. It's going to change a lot of math. Grass type's got a big buff out of Leaf Cape. Every grass type ever might want to be using it. At least out of one of. Acerola, the Pokemon they gave you for this kind of suck, man. I got to be honest. Alima, you can use it with a Snorlax to get a free retreat and get your damage back and not, give up a knockout point, which is really cool. If we get better normal types in the future, Alima might see more play. Right now, I don't think there's any colorless Pokemon that's going to be taking over the meta, so Alima's probably not going to see very much. Snorlax likes it, though. Kiawe single-handedly makes these two Pokemon playable because it has a bonkers effect of getting 2 fire energy and attaching it to that Pokemon, but then your turn ends. I still don't think the Pokemon are going to be that great, though, so whatever. Guzma's good. Guzma's a good card. It discards all Pokemon tools attached to each of your opponent's Pokemon, which is great. And, I mean, that's all it does, but, I mean, shit. If your opponent's got, like... Yo, look at this card art, by the way. Holy crap. If your opponent's got, like, a Pokemon with Giant Cape at 20 or less health, and you play Guzma, they're just dead, which is hilarious. This thing is an immersive trainer, by the way. Holy crap, he's got the whole squad. That's nuts. That's so sick. Galissapod behind him, too. What a goat. But yeah, man, I feel like... Card's not bad at all. The problem is, with all these cool supporters being printed, you have to remember, Pokemon Pocket's a 20-card game. Oops, did I say 20 card? I meant 16. Research and Pokeball are in every deck. So, Guzma will be played in the decks that can fit him. Which decks will that be? I don't know. There can't be many of them. But it's a good card. Lana, crazy with Araquanid. Araquanid is a mid-ass card though, but giving your deck access to bosses' orders might legit be so good that it's worth playing Araquanid just for that. So, yeah. Sophocles, I think it's not bad if you're using Togedemaru as an early game. If you're using Togedemaru in the deck just for early game pressure, Sophocles is a decent one of in the deck. Otherwise, I mean, to build a deck specifically around Alola Golem or Vikavolt doesn't seem fantastic. Alola Golem is the worst of the three. Vikavolt might be workable with Rare Candy, and Togedemaru is the most splashable of the three. So, building a Sophocles deck, I don't really know how great that sounds, if I'm going to be honest, but yeah, plus 30 is good, so we'll see. Mallow, this is going to be played with Serena, and it's good with Serena. It's not good with Shiinotic. Don't play Shiinotic. Shiinotic sucks. Lily will be played. Healing 60 damage from one of your Stage 2s. This thing also has an immersive, I'm pretty sure. Yep, pretty cool. All the trial captains also had their own full arts. I'm not going to go back for that, whatever. But... yeah, Lily's not good, or sorry, not bad at all. Healing 60 is ridiculous. I mean, it's just better Erica, but it only works on Stage 2s is the downside, of course. But yeah, I mean, this thing is perfectly good. It's a good card. Stokesard is probably going to love this. Venusaur is going to love this. I mean, it's a good card. Okay, so here I am looking at the promos that go ahead and start with, at least new cards. Start with his Rayquaza. Baby Rayquaza sucks. Rayquaza EX sucks. Sorry, bro. Dragonite's not good. This is not going to be good. Neither was Wugtrio. So I don't expect Rayquaza EX be any good either. Mimikyu already went over. Cosmog already went over. Lycanroc already went over. Are the rest of these guys the same? I think the Alola Grimer is different. Yeah, the other one sucked. The other one was 3 energy for 30, I think. Or 2 energy for 30. Yeah, this Alola Grimer is way better. Use this Grimer. This Toucannon is different. I think the other one is honestly better. The burn is not guaranteed, which means that this thing is kind of whatever. I like that they brought Beak Blast, like the effect from the game, but it's whatever. I think the other Toucannon is better, and I still don't think it's very good. So, that's all the cards from the set. Yeah. We'll see how the meta develops. I am once again coping and trying to see if Luxray is good, and Copium, I think it actually might be decent this time, thanks to Oricorio. So, I'll be playing ranked with that, and I'll be uploading ranked stuff and gameplay and streaming that very soon, so stay tuned here, and on Twitch I'll be playing ranked. And yeah, that's it from me. That's all the cards. The game is changing, man, and this might be my favorite set yet. We'll see how the meta develops. And yeah, that's all from me. I'll see you guys around. Take care, and yeah, I'll be streaming ranked soon. Stick around for that. We're hitting Master Ball.